Blue Train. So if you're playing this in the solo version, like I am here, it's nice to be able to play the melody in the right hand and hit these chords in the left hand. I'll talk about those voicings that I'm doing right now. In an ensemble context, as it happens in the original recording, the horn section plays the melody and the piano is just responsible for the chords. And so there's more sort of options available to you in voicings and so on. How you use your hands to play the chords if you don't also have to play the melody. That said, this sounds to me very, very close to the actual original recording on John Coltrane's Blue Train album. So this is a 12-bar blues form in E flat. The left hand starts on the one chord, playing E flat dominant 7, root 3rd and 7th, and plays that again. Then we move down to the 4 chord, the A flat. And in this voicing, we're just doing the root in the 7th and leaving the 3rd to the right hand when it plays these other notes. And we'll come back to the 1 chord again, our E flat, 7, root 3rd and 7th. And the last chord, we get the B flat dominant 7, again, root 3rd and 7th. Then come back finally again to our E flat. So the left hand is getting our basic root position voicings of these chords, and our right hand plays the melody. And we can sustain that last note in the melody with whichever finger lands on it there, and we'll reach down with your other, usually your thumb, to add these upper chord extensions. So on the E flat chord, we're adding the sharp 9. The natural 9 of E flat, usually E flat would be the F natural, so this is now an F sharp, the sharp 9. And we get to the next chord, and the same idea, our right hand will sustain this last note in the melody, and your other fingers, 3, 2, and 1, can reach down to get these chord extensions. In this case, we have just the 3rd of the chord, and then the sharp 11 and the 13. Back to our original E flat chord, the sharp 9. And now here on the B flat dominant 7th chord, my finger that I ended with in the melody was my middle finger, so it's easier for me if I squish in and sort of swap in my pinky. So get my pinky in there. And we get, again, the sharp 9, and then just doubling the 7th up here. So we end up with a lot of sharp 9s and 7ths with all these fingers. Back to the original. Lastly, I just want to say a couple things about these chord voicings, what makes them sound so good. So you'll notice that after the root in the left hand, in every case, the next interval is a tritone. So G to the D flat there is 3 whole steps, 1, 2, 3 whole steps, makes a tritone. Also known as, the augmented 4th or the diminished 5th interval, but most commonly the tritone. And it's a really common move in jazz chords to hit a tritone, and then whatever else you want to do up above tends to sound good. You have a lot of freedom in your voicings if you add stuff to the top of a tritone. And in this case, we're adding the sharp 9. On the A flat chord, where we have the root in the 7th, the next note in the right hand is the C, which is a tritone from the G flat. And then we're allowed to add all these other things. And it sounds good because because it's on top of this bed of the tritone. We get back to the eventually the B flat chord, and it's the same deal as the E flat. We have the third and the seventh, which is a tritone, and then the sharp 9 in the right hand, and it sounds good and crunchy. So what is this sharp 9 business? Let's talk just in terms of C chords. It's a little bit easier to see sometimes. So the major third above C is the E natural, and the ninth would be the D. That would be dominant 7/9 chord. Sounds very nice, very WC. It's a lovely sound. And then the sharp 9, though, takes the D up to a D sharp. And you maybe are noticing that the E natural and the D sharp are kind of, we could also see this sharp 9 as the minor third of the C chord. And so when we play dominant 7s with a sharp 9 and a major third, as we are including in this one chord both the major and minor thirds of the chord, which is very bluesy, right? To have both the minor and major third involved in your playing. And this is just a fun way of making it sound good to play all of them all at once if we spread them out in this way. Last point is one of the things that makes this so crunchy and dissonant sounding, besides having the tritones in there, is this distance from the major third to the sharp 9 is itself a major 7th. Very dissonant interval. And then the same thing is happening when we get the A flat chord. The distance from the dominant 7th to the 13 also is this major 7th, very dissonant interval. So what these chord voicings do is they use this tritone bass to set up a really dissonant chord sound that nonetheless sounds very good in the context.